be refuting is Melanie's, and she claims that funding art programs in schools can be more beneficial than funding sports programs. And I say that's not true. And so her claims, her main claims, she says art programs are a way for students to express themselves. 2, art has also been proven to increase their motivation to do better and continue with school in at-risk students. And 3, funding in sports can have a negative effect on a student's health and their education. So for first claim, art programs are a way for students to express themselves. It kind of has an assumption that sports are, you can't express yourselves in sports or in any other activities that are non-art, and that if you're not in an art class or something, or in fine arts, you can't be creative either. And some of our sub-claims include students can give voice to their emotions and thoughts, and students can express their likes and dislikes. And that's like really like generalizations, really, and not really actual proof or like is it solid evidence. And I say that students can build self-esteem and respect in sports, and that sports has been also been found to encourage school participation. And according to Linder's research, suggests that increased energy levels and time outside the classroom, both byproducts of playing sports, may give relief from boredom, resulting in higher extension levels during classroom time. And also has shown that physical exercise has causes short-term relaxation accompanied by improved concentration, enhanced creativity, and memory. And as for a second claim, art has also been proven to increase the motivation to do better and continue school with at-risk students. Well, I say that sports and clubs and other art activities have also been found to increase motivation in students. Because one, the activity itself doesn't really matter. It's the environment and the context that really brings out the benefits of kids at school. So it doesn't matter like if it's art or sports really. If you don't have any good teachers or equipment or a positive environment, it won't really make a difference.
Be careful, it could go off for no reason.
And athletes have also been found to have lower dropout rates and higher grades, but this also might be only because higher grade students and better participation. Students will often join sports as extracurricular activities and extra just stuff after school. And her third point is that funding in sports can have a negative effect on students' health and their education. Well, you can't really say that because no sports are without a certain kind of risk, all those injuries and injuries and negative health benefits that she claims are actually, you can't really control those because they're really, with any physical activity, there's always just a certain risk involved, but not all sports are really dangerous. Everything, as long as you have the certain conditioning. Like Terry, an orthopedic surgeon at Northwestern Memorial Hospital and associate professor of orthopedics at Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine, said, "Careful conditioning will protect from injury and help them stay in shape. It's never too early to have kids focusing on sports, safety, and their health." And I think sports are generally considered good for your health. And also, benefits of arts or sports really depend on the instruction given, really. So, that's it.
There's 6 minutes.
Don't we have 5 minutes?
5 minutes, yeah.
No, it's 6 for the regular one, and it's 5 for
It's between 4 and 5 cuts and
we
All right, the advocate's main point was labeled, and you start with a counterclaim, so we know right away what position you're taking on this. It's not just a challenge to the adequacy of the proof, but that you're actually going to argue a contradictory position too. You signpost the first supporting point very clearly. You kind of challenge the assumption on that point, and you criticize the notion that the creativity is inherent in only the arts and not in other places. I think it would be helpful if you could have an example there from sports-based kinds of creativity. That shouldn't be hard to come up with. I'm sure that there are coaches and players that might have been able to provide you with illustrations to make that particular point. The notion that sports, though, can be a source of self-esteem, I thought you did have some information on that was pretty good. On the second point, where you were talking about art as a source of this kind of motivation and inspiration and all those sorts of things, you basically said it could be any type of activity, and I think that's a reasonable challenge to make, but I didn't think that it got developed very well, and there's not as much direct challenge on the advocate's evidence on this particular point. On the third point, you do have a kind of a comparison that's being made here on the injuries. I think you diminish the risk of injuries substantially. I'm not sure that the advocate even gave us any numbers on the kinds of injuries that we're talking about, especially if they are school-related injuries. To me, the argument that seems, you do mention it briefly, but it seems obvious that it would be an overwhelming argument on this, is that these physical activities are necessary for people to actually have health in the first place, and the idea, what is it, 60 minutes of play every day, and that kind of thing, and that sports facilitates that and provides that sort of thing, and painting, drawing, writing, singing, any of those kinds of things, whatever advantages they have, it does not include general physical health, I don't think, unless maybe you're talking about the marching band, where then there might be some physical activity that goes along with it. So I think that you could make that contrast a little bit more effective. I think you recognize that your conclusion seemed a little bit abrupt. You needed a little bit more summary and kind of sell us on those arguments too. All right, thank you.